know how to fight it.
We're in a time of crisis. Protect the sisterhood at all costs.
We should be leaders of the Imperium. This complacency is a disease.
Hard choices will have to be made.
When have I ever shied away from hard choices?
You think you can replace me?
I always wondered what your greatest fear would be. Now I have seen it.
Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Dune Prophecy, Episode 4, Twice Born. Let me tell you, this one, it had a build-up because it started off with, we're going to do a lot of talking for a lot of different groups, a lot of different people. We'll get into that. But man, it hits this turning point where it starts finally doing some revelations that I really thought, I didn't know where they were going. But then when things kind of fall into place, you know, everybody's got a little bit of a plan, but only one of them can actually probably go through with it. And it's usually the one that they don't show you as much. Really interesting stuff. I really like this episode. Like I said, it kind of kept me just interested throughout the whole thing because, first of all, I want to know what these plans are, right? What are we doing? It introduces a really fun and interesting thing with the sisterhood, that they are in trouble and they don't know what's going on. And then on the other side with the Emperor, we finally get back to that. We see a lot of Desmond again in this episode. So let's get into all the spoilers here. We begin with a spooky hallway scene where one of the sisters is chasing another. It turns out to be that it is a nightmare, but they're all having like a shared or different nightmares that kind of conclude in the same thing. And one of the sisters even was going to harm herself physically, very reminiscent of the scene that we saw at the beginning of the show. We now go back to the Harkonnens, where Valia is there visiting her family, right? Her uncle still doesn't trust her, but her nephew probably feels a little bit more, just because he's hungry for power. He wants to be part of the Empire. He wants the Harkonnen name to rise up again. But her uncle, Valia's uncle, just Mark Addy does a really good job. I think his name is Ivingly. He does a really good job just showing that he doesn't trust her at all. There's no way. But she wants to help elevate the house again. So we also check in with Emperor Corino and his family, where they're having troubles. His daughter Ness did not take very kindly to what's going on. She doesn't like Desmond, and then her brother is kind of trapped in the middle of all this, trying to appease her dad, but also trying to stand up with his sister. So we go to the High Council meeting. That's kind of where this entire episode, I like throughout this whole, they call it the land arc, I think, where they're going to just, it's like a big council meeting for all the barons and all, with the Emperor. So very much a meeting of like a congress of the Empire. Meanwhile, the sisterhood moves to bring the Harkonnen into the meeting, right? They do some plans. There are some barons that are not very happy. It's really cool to see the sisterhood move, because obviously they communicate with each other very very subtly, but the things that they are planting in their barons' ears, like, it's really cool to see how they manipulate the whole empire just from one place. But of course, there's things that are in place right now that are not allowing them to complete their plans as they want. We also see that Tula has a training session where with all the sisters to try to get them over this nightmare, but it goes very wrong. Like, as they go into this kind of like trance and they start drawing with charcoal, really cool scene. Like, they start drawing horrific things. We see the worm. We see eventually everybody draws the same thing, where it's like this pair of eyes that is later kind of revealed to be like maybe it is Desmond that's watching everything. We also have Ness and company planning to confront the Emperor and Desmond Hart at the meeting with the council. So everybody's going, like, the big blow off of this episode is that the last day of the council meeting. The Baron Harkonnen comes in, right? The nephew comes into the meeting, and he's about to raise an accusation against Desmond, which none of the other houses wanted to do. So they brought him in. They maneuvered him in, knowing that he had very little to lose, and that he really wanted to join the council. But Desmond shows up. Ness also shows up to also disrupt the meeting and accuse Desmond of killing the child earlier on. And Desmond had already put a plan in place to capture these rebels that we had been seeing. They were going to blow up the council meeting, where Valia was going to take the advantage to try to stop that from happening and get in the Emperor's good graces again. But none of this happens because Desmond had a plan ahead of everything. He brought in some traitors, man, and then he just like he did his thing. He burned them alive. A true show of power in front of everyone in the empire. And I think Emperor this really gained the favor of Emperor Carino. I still don't know what I don't know what Desmond is, and they haven't told us about that. But uh, after this, Valia was able to get some blood, so that she sent it back to the Sisterhood, so they can test it out in their machine. All right. Last, we see that Valia confronts her uncle Evingly, and he needs this respirator thing to breathe every once in a while, and she kind of allows him to die. I don't know that she kills him, but she allows him to die. And then we see Griffin show up, her brother, Valia's brother, and I was like, "What the hell is happening?" It turns out that Theodora, who was with her, another one of the sisters, has an ability to morph into other people. So I think they're gonna use that to attack Desmond and the Empire. Maybe set him up for some wrongdoings or whatever. So it was crazy. That scene was crazy because Valia had been haunted by the voice of her brother while she's been there. So I was like, "How is he back?" But obviously they maybe a more astute viewer would have put together that Theo's ability was kind of hinted at earlier on in the episode. So once it was revealed, I was like, oh, this is what they were talking about. And then lastly, we see Tula having her own nightmares. And then Lila awakens and she's down there. She sees the machine. So everything's been revealed, at least to Lila, the fact that they do have a thinking machine and that the Sisterhood is still using forbidden technology. Yeah, very tense. Great episode. Really, I'm really having fun with this show. And I don't know how we're gonna close this out in 2 episodes. I don't know if they're gonna plan to like. I don't know that there's more Dune Prophecy announced to like a season 2 or something. So like, if we're gonna end this in 2 episodes, how is this gonna end? I hope they can do it in a satisfying way. So either way, that's the show for now. So as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And stay tuned because we have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. And as always, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.